ethical consumers. In today's minisode, I'd like to share with you 3 book recommendations if you're interested in learning more about sustainability. Book number 1 is Inconspicuous Consumption by Tatiana Schlossberg. This was recommended by former guest Jacqueline Sun, one of the co-founders of Brasi. If you're new to sustainability, or if you've mostly just focused on one type of system or industry, I highly recommend reading this for a cheeky introduction to how our modern society is impacting the world. This is a great book that explains how everyday things we never think about are affecting the environment. And we're not just talking about plastic straws and carbon emissions, but the inner workings of the food and fashion industries, and even the effect the internet has on the environment. You'd think it would be disheartening to read something like this, but I love her snarky commentary, and she really emphasizes that, of course, consumers have to be responsible for their actions, but large corporations do too, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes that none of us ever think about. Book 2 is the classic The Omnivores Dilemma by Michael Pollan. This book gained a lot of traction in the early 2000s, but I think it's just as relevant today. This breaks down our food system, where the food comes from, and the effect different ways of eating have on the environment. And it's not as black and white as you'd think it would be. If you're interested in learning more about our food system specifically, definitely check this one out. Book 3 is Let My People Go Surfing from Yvonne Chouinard. This book has been mentioned before on the podcast by several guests, including Axel Brave of Axel Provisions, and it was recently mentioned in a recording with a future guest, Nishal Banskota of Nepal Tea. Check out this book to learn about Chouinard's humble beginnings as a blacksmith's son who just loved the outdoors and rock climbing, and learn about the trials and tribulations he had to go through getting his company off the ground and turning it into the Patagonia we know today. If you have any additional book suggestions, leave them in the comments and let me know what to check out next. Thank you for listening to the Ethical Consumer Podcast. If you're enjoying the podcast, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes and following us on all social media outlets at the.ethical.consumer to learn more.